The American Revolution was a beacon of hope for people all over the world. Just as it is today, Rockland County during the time of the Revolution was very diverse. A mix of Dutch, Irish, English, and German settlers called Rockland County their home, alongside Native Americans and people of African descent. But the fight for liberty did not mean liberty for all.
The key ideals of the American Revolution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, were what the colonists had fought for. Sadly, though, there was a portion of our population, people primarily of color, that would never have an opportunity for those realized goals until much later on.
Jefferson wrote an early draft of the Declaration of Independence that included a clause that stated that slavery was a violation of the most sacred rights of life and liberty. That clause was removed eventually from the Declaration of Independence because they wanted to appease slaveholders and those who made money from the system of slavery.
Marquis de La Fayette, a critical figure in the American Revolution and close friend of George Washington, brought French soldiers money and firepower to the revolutionary cause. He also brought humanist ideals about freedom.
Lafayette was very convinced that all people are created equal, no matter what color they were, no matter what country they came from, and whether they were male or female. He came to George Washington with his concept that people should not be slaves. They should not be treated as non-people. They should have equal rights. And George Washington said, "You're right, but this is not the time."
And so at this time, we can see that while the colonists are fighting for freedom and liberty, the society is doing just the opposite and is trying to ensure that people of African descent don't find freedom.
The history of the American Revolution tends to focus on the achievements of generals and armies, but the people driving the American cause came from all walks of life.
When people think about armies moving or marching through an area, they have this picture of just soldiers marching along. Along with that group of individuals, soldiers, you had camp followers.
Women were very important to the revolution, especially in Rockland County. The women came with the camps of men. They did all the laundry, they did the cooking, they helped to haul everything that needed to be taken to the new location.
In many cases, the camp followers were people of color, people that didn't have standing or status in society.
They could have been indigenous, they were male, they were female. These camp followers were a regular part of military life, and they followed these units around wherever they went. And so there were all sorts of people who did all kinds of necessary jobs as camp followers, but you won't find them in the archive. You're not going to find a history about the deeds that they did.
Historians are constantly uncovering new clues about chapters in American history that were written by unseen hands.
It's important for a historian to keep an open mind. New information comes out that has to be examined, that has to be looked at with a critical eye.
When we think about the absence of African descendant people in Revolutionary War archives, we have to remember that the record keepers were not trying to tell the story of African descendant people. They were trying to tell the story of the people that were in control.
The DAR is working very hard to correct the fact that the women of the revolution were overlooked. Our genealogists are continually researching to find proof of women who worked towards the revolution.
In Rockland County, history is constantly coming into sharper focus as we learn about the incredible events and people of the American Revolution. It is up to all of us to question what we think we know and see the full picture of this remarkable place.
I think that if we don't look at the whole history, then we're not really looking at a true story. We're only looking at a part of a story. And that's what we're trying to correct today, is to make sure that we're telling fuller stories that contain the stories of people who are everyday people.
And there are a lot of dedicated people who work to keep the memories of the revolution alive, so that those of us living today, 250 years later, realize what it was really all about.
I would love visitors to know that Rockland County wasn't on the periphery of the Revolutionary War. It was at the center of the Revolutionary War. I also would want them to understand all the places around Rockland County that they can go to learn more about that time period. But I also like them to dig a little deeper, because they're going to find missing in people during that time in the story.
When you think George Washington slept here, walked here, ate here, and the same thing with Lafayette or Rochambeau or the other countless individuals, the unsung heroes as well.
Come walk in the footsteps of history as you explore all that Rockland County has to offer.